This is a story of perseverance and endurance, hate and love, fate and prosperity, destiny for unexpected happy endings. A tale, crafted on the stable of 33 Prosper Media. Stay tuned as the story begins. Woodor was not always a man of silence and simple clothes. Once a vibrant young mind brimming with ambition, promising potential, his dreams was tall and exciting as every young boys and girls alike. And maybe, slightly over-ambitious by some, and simple by others, but his dreams had been buried under the weight of the limitation of poverty. After dropping out of college in his second year, he wandered the streets of Yola, looking for any job that would keep body and soul together. Eventually, perseverance and patience handed him a faded brown uniform, basic security gadgets, and a post at the iron gate of one of the most powerful men in Adamawa, Mr. Adamu. He was grateful and applied diligence and patience in his new job. Environmental sanitization was later added to his job without prior notice, but his newly embraced stronghold in endurance and patience was helpful in keeping the faith. Whispering quiet affirmations to himself that was only known to himself and heard by himself alone. The staff inside called him, the statue, silent, obedient, unremarkable. But the canopy of grace hovered over him and fate had it all planned out in a manner that was unexpected and unexplainable. Somehow, one person noticed him. Not for kindness, not for admiration, but with disdain. Salamatu, Mr. Adamu's only daughter. A final year student at the university, she was beauty and pride in one elegant form. With a pointed nose, almond-shaped eyes, and skin that glistened like fine gold, Salamatu walked with the air of someone who believed the earth rotated around her. She hated Woodor and everything that had to do with him, and she never pretended about it. Her father, who loved her so dearly, allowed her to have her ways in everything, did nothing about it. Her mother often cautioned her about her attitude towards Woodor, but in the end, Salamatu did what pleased her and how it pleased her. The world around her was dictated by her wish. An epitome of a spoiled rich kid. To her, Woodor was nothing more than a stain on the family's prestige. A self-claimed school dropout, gateman, a nobody. She often threw snide remarks at him whenever he opened the gate. Sometimes, it burns her deeply in her soul, if she ever walked past him and felt his eyes behind her. She scolds him with hell storm if she ever caught him make eyes contact with her, and she doesn't give him the opportunity to do so by not talking to him for any reason. One day, she made her way into the car to pick up something from the car while Woodor was washing the car. She opened the car and got inside, unannounced, and Woodor was busy washing the tire of the car on the opposite side, unknown to him that she had entered the car. Suddenly, his singing and whistling was interrupted with her screaming and yelling, claiming that he splashed dirty water on her legs. In spite of all his innocent pleading, she continued shouting and raining insults on him. Her mother came out to calm her fury and found no trace of water on her legs. Still, Salamatu insisted that he must be sacked. She called her father on the phone, but he was far away in Lagos. But when her father called his wife to relieve Woodor of his job, her mother told him the truth on her findings and attested to Woodor's innocence. She made insulting remarks occasionally, but Woodor never answered. He only bowed slightly and let her through, locking his pain. Deep behind a forced smile, and endurance, knowing that his monthly savings will one day open his door for him. But destiny is strange. The heated trouble that began at the gate may soon reach out to a fall in the mind and heart. One humid evening, the house was unusually quiet. Mr. Adamu had traveled to handle his business in Lagos, and the compound staff had been dismissed early because of the holidays. Salamatu returned home in a glittering gold gown and high heel after attending a birthday party in town. Her boyfriend, Zachary, decided not to come into the house that evening. He dropped her off at the gate so that he could hurry back to the party. When he dropped her, he came out and turned around to give her a proper goodnight kiss. The moment he held her hand for a kiss, a shadow lunged from behind the hedge. Then another joined from the opposite direction. "Don't scream if you don't want me to blow off your brain," a rough voice warned. But before he could say anything more, Zachary bolted and ran away without looking back, abandoning his car and leaving Salamatu to her fate. The two masked men whose initial mission was to collect the car, but Zachary succeeded in running away with the car key, grabbed Salamatu. She struggled and screamed, but her effort was overpowered with merciless slaps and blows on her face. They held her down and decided not to leave with nothing. One of them began to fumble with her short dress that was obviously easy to handle. Right there on the ground beside the car. Suddenly, wham! Woodor, who had sensed something was wrong, busted from his tiny security post with the fury of 10 men. Armed with only a heavy metal torchlight, he charged at the assailants like a madman. Blows landed, screams echoed, the attackers fled into the darkness, leaving Salamatu trembling on the ground. But Woodor didn't come out unscathed. One of the men had hit him hard with a plank and he collapsed beside Salamatu. When she opened her teary eyes, it turned out a shocking and disappointing discovery, that it wasn't her Zachary that rescued her, nor her father. At the moment she almost lost her life and her sanity. But it was Woodor, bleeding, unconscious, lying beside her like a fallen soldier. Finally, she thought to herself, a proven real man, risking his life. After everything. Yes, after everything. They thought he was dead. Mr. Adamu returned the following morning, devastated for what happened. Surprisingly, Zachary's car had been retrieved from the scene. Not by Zachary but by his friend. He sent his friends to help him retrieve his car and he is still yet to call and check up on Salamatu. Mr. Adamu ordered Woodor's body to be taken to the hospital. Salamatu stayed unusually quiet, haunted by the image of the man she had always hated, who was lifeless because of her. 3 days passed and there was no call from Zachary and she wasn't sure if she really wanted to hear from him at that point. But something struck her. What if something had happened to him? If so, who could have sent his friends to pick up his car? With the new wave of confusion and worries, she called his number several times and he eventually picked her call. With her shock, she did not say any word but simply held the phone to her ears. But what really surprised her most, Zachary picked the call and only casually said, "I will call you later," and hung up. She couldn't believe what just happened. A huge blow to her face, she thought. Even worse than the blows from the armed robbers. She felt a slight headache and just when she wanted to call for her medication, the good news came. The shocking relief. Woodor survived. He awoke with stitches, bruises, and a slow, painful breath. Mr. Adamu visited him at the hospital, knelt by his bed, and wept for an uncertain reason. He wasn't sure why he wept, but he wept. He offered him money, a promotion, even gave him one of his houses but Woodor politely refused all. "I did what any man would do, sir. She is your daughter, she didn't deserve that," he whispered. And when Salamatu walked in with eyes swollen from days of crying, she didn't speak either. She knelt quietly beside the bed, took his hand, and for the first time in her life, she whispered, "Thank you, Woodor. I'm so sorry." Woodor was surprised to see that side of her that he never expected. He wouldn't believe in a million years that she could be that humble. When Woodor was discharged, he returned to the compound and was treated with much regards. She spent more time with him and took good care of him, much to her mother's discomfort. She stayed more at home and around him. She succeeded in getting his bank detail against his wish and paid generously into his account. His recovery was quick and he fully resumed his duties. But this time, with less stress, more comfort and something more. Mrs. Adamu did not like it at all, when she discovered that Salamatu was secretly in a relationship with Woodor. She had suspected that she was becoming too close for comfort with him. After they drove out together one afternoon, she investigated and confirmed the obvious. They were already in love with each other. To Salamatu, she discovered that she had missed the best of men, who was always right there with her. About 4 months into their clandestine relationship, Salamatu was deeply in love and wanted it public. She admitted to her mother and asked for her blessing. Her father exploded with fury and forbade her. He swore not to live to see such a despicable thing happen while he was alive. But 2 weeks after his warning, their relationship only waxed stronger. Mr. Adamu couldn't stand it anymore, so he got some unknown thugs to teach Woodor a bitter lesson. They bundled him and took him into a deep bush in a blindfold, beat him up till he was half dead and bloody. They tied his hands and feet and abandoned him to die in the bush. He spent the night there in the bush in that condition until dawn. A hunter discovered him and took him to a close's roadside and hurried back to round up his hunting. Woodor didn't know where he was, but he managed to keep moving. Unknown to him, he was moving on the opposite direction and going farther away from home. Lucky for him, a vehicle loaded with traders stopped and offered help. They were farmers that were traveling that morning to the market with their farm produce for sale. Woodor was carried along with them. He found himself in botchy state. He started helping here and there in the market, and eventually, he started selling pepper. Within a month, he had made friends with some other salesboys in the market. He stayed focused and worked diligently and became well known within the main market until one day, two friends in the market got an opportunity to travel with a trader to Lagos and help with the sales. They told Udo about it and he jumped into the opportunity without hesitation. 2 nights later, they arrived in Ijora, in Lagos State, in the back of a lorry full of yam, potato, and groundnuts. Months turned into years. Salamatu graduated with honors, and Mr. Adamu continued to rise in politics. But in quiet corners of her heart, Salamatu always remembered the special kind of love and affection that she was lucky to experience with a man who once fought like a lion to protect her dignity, when she was abandoned to the mercy of her attackers, by the ones she had invested her heart for. On arrival in Lagos, he saw several opportunities but needed to start slowly and be well factored for effective decision-making. Woodor started life afresh. He picked up menial work at a small construction firm. What he lacked in credentials, he made up for diligence, humility, and integrity. The CEO, Mr. Clement, a retired army general, noticed him and took him as his personal driver. Then, his personal assistant. During this time, Woodor was able to get some formal credential, through a part-time studies at the College of Technology. And in time, he got sponsorship to complete his education. First a diploma, then a degree, then a postgraduate course in project management. His etiquette and devotion endeared him to Mr. Clement, who eventually trusted him enough to promote him to the position of the general manager of the entire branch. By year 7, Woodor was a respected business figure. He opened his own firm in Lagos, a high-rise in Victoria Island that bore the name Woodor Tech Solutions Limited. It was a corporate event in Lagos, hosted by the Federal Ministry of Urban Planning. Among the keynote speakers was the new Special Assistant to the Minister on Housing Development, Salamatu Adamu. Dressed in a smart navy suit and heels, she stepped up to the microphone and began to speak confidently. Her message was well received, but her admiration gained more popularity in the hearts of men in the crown. From the crowd, a tall, well-dressed man with glowing skin and an air of quiet power watched her intently. He knew her much more than words could tell. He didn't take note and was far from listening to what she was saying, because a million things rumbled in his mind while watching her speak confidently and elegantly. He remembered her. He remembered the good and the bad days. He remembered that her heart was so much as beautiful as her hate could hurt. Their eyes met, and she paused briefly. Salamatu's heart skipped a beat. It couldn't be, she thought, but it was. Then, she looked at his direction again to be sure of who she just saw. Woodor bowed his head slightly in acknowledgement. Salamatu stared, and some other people in the crowd followed the direction of her stare but were not sure who she was looking at because Woodor maintained his composure. She struggled to regain her own composure and picked up from where she stopped. After the event, she found him at the back of the hall, standing all alone and thinking back to his days in the north, and his ordeal in the hands of the thugs in the bush that were hired by her father. He told himself that he was so close to losing his life twice, because of her. Then he remembered that he had never been touched by love like she touched him. Her grace to love was second to none. "You," she whispered, interrupting his thought. He smiled gently, turning to fully face her. "Yes, it's me." Tears welled up in her eyes. "You owed me a lot of explanation. You disappeared without warning, leaving your cell phone behind and all of your belonging. We searched the whole town looking for you. What did I do to make you abandon me and left me dry?" she said, and Woodor just realized that she didn't even know what happened to him. She was obviously kept in the dark. "It's a long story," Woodor said. and I have all the time. So you don't even have to cut it short or summarize it. Just start from the beginning and get talking because I am all ears right now, she said. Definitely not here, Salamatu. Then, let's go somewhere, anywhere, just lead the way, Salamatu insisted, and they led the vicinity to Woodor's house. In his house, he told her everything and how her father almost killed him, and how he bled all night in the bush, and was saved by a hunter the following morning. She wept the entire time and told him how her father had reported him missing at the police station and paid so much money for the police to look for him. They began to talk again and rekindled their love in no time. They were two comfortable independent adults, and had their freedom. Salamatu fell back in love that was eagerly awaiting with opened arms and longing heart. She fell back in love, not with his unprecedented achievements or wealth, but with the spirit of a man who once took a blow for her, and never held it against her. And Woodor once again saw past the pride, into the soft, caring, lovely beautiful girl and the wise woman she had become. Months later, at a small private garden in Lagos, Woodor went on one knee and said, "Once, I opened gates for you. Now I want to open life's door with you. Will you marry me?" Her answer came with tears. "Why did it take you so long? I have been long married to you in my heart. Yes, I will marry you." She helped him and they kissed with passion as the entire world held their peace. Their wedding was private, but people who once knew Woodor came with joy and disbelief. Even Mr. Adamu, her father, visited the couple a day before the wedding. Not to give them his blessing, but to beg Woodor for forgiveness before he was able to show up at the wedding. At the wedding, he danced like a child. In his speech, he said, "The man I once paid in coins now owns empires, and he still calls me, sir. May all daughters be lucky enough to find a man like Woodor." And so it was, that Woodor, once a college dropout and a gatekeeper, became a symbol of strength, love, and quiet greatness. Because sometimes, the strongest men wear the simplest uniforms, and the most beautiful stories start at the gates we least expect. The end. Please, kindly subscribe to this channel to support our work, and you will be notified as we upload new videos. You can relax and watch more interesting stories that we already have on this channel to thrill your mind. Enjoy your moment and stay blessed.